It's almost time. Just 2 minutes. Hello. Hello. You're welcome to the live stream. Let's be sure we're connected. Hello. Hello. I think we're live, but I need confirmation for us to start. So if you can just let me know that we're live, then we can start. That you can see me, you can hear me. Everything seems okay from my end here, but I need to hear that you can. Let me see. All right, good evening. This is the time to share the link and call others to join that were live. The Overflow Live is live. Yes. I just want to be sure that everything is okay and then we can start. Let's just give few more minutes, like 2 minutes more, and we'll start. Let me just make sure. Okay, few more minutes. It's time for you to share. Share, share, share. If you know someone who is supposed to be here and is not here, let the person know that we are live. Overflow Live is live. Okay. Today we're talking about family system. Family system. Is it still audible? Miss Francisca, you have to be helping me to be sure, yes, that I can be heard. All right, I'm seeing your chat. Wow, the lights just went off. Oh, all right, so today we're talking about our discussion is on family systems. Family system. So I welcome you warmly to the Overflow Live. If this is the first live section you're joining on this mission, we usually have our live the first Saturday of every month. And so today is the first Saturday of the month of June. And so we're having our live. You can share the link, ask others to join, because the topic we're discussing today is interesting. It's very interesting. So let's have it. Let's hear it. Just ensuring everything is okay. All right. Okay. Let's get on. Today we're talking about family system. The family unit is very important, and I love family. I'm a family life coach, and so I deal with every aspect of the family. It's is a unit that sometimes is ignored, and that's the reason why you can have someone who wants to get married and feels like marriage counseling is not needful, is not something you should have, and that in itself is a recipe for disaster, because if you want to be an engineer, you definitely will go to school. In Nigeria, it's 5 years. Some other countries, it could be 3 years. But the issue is time is given to it, dedicated to it, and you study for it to become an engineer. And so being someone who wants to get married, definitely you will need to equally put out time and study and get that right for you to get into marriage. But sometimes it's not accepted in that way, and that poses some kind of challenge. So today we're looking into the family system. What are the things that make up the family system? What are the likely challenges that occur when attention is not given to the family system, what it ought to be? So I will briefly just look at the functions, what you have in it. I have to be looking at two cameras because of the two places for streaming. Yes, functions like the ecosystem, that's the build up core things that happen, how this can affect the confidence of parents who have to deal with everybody around them. So let's go. All right. I'm coming. Something is hanging here. All right. Understanding the family system, that's what we're looking at. So I want to briefly, in my own words, define what a family system is. A family system is not just a group of individuals who live together, cohabit in a house, no, but it's a breathing network. I say a breathing network because it is people who are in action, they are participating in something, they are doing things. So it's a breathing network of of emotions, people who are relating with one another, behavior and patterns of who they are. So they all come together. So it's not just individuals who are living in a house, but they are living, relating, connecting with one another in the house. That's what makes a family system. And so I would say a family system has core elements, which we'll look at. There are four. I put them up into four. You have the family structure. So in the family system, you have the family structure, you have the communication pattern that occurs in the family system, you have the emotional dynamics, how do they do things in the family, and finally the roles and responsibilities of every single person that make up that family system. These are the things we're going to look at today. If you've not shared the link, go on and share and let somebody know that we are live. All right, so we go. For those who have been on our YouTube channel, have seen any video here, you know what we'll do in the Overflow Live is look at issues, topical issues that border on living a fulfilling life in any way you look at it. So it helps you to look at issues ordinarily we wouldn't talk about. We just bring them up and we'll talk about them on the channel. So today is family system. And like I said, it has four structures which we're looking at. The first one is a family structure. This is the arrangement or makeup of the family unit. Who and who belongs to this family, what roles they play, and how they relate with one another. That's the family structure that we have. And you have different family structures. There are types of different there are different types of family structures. You have the nuclear family or polygamous family. That's you have the uh, parents and then the children all in one family. He can be um, a husband, a wife, and the children. And sometimes you can have polygamous family, which is not very common anymore. But back here in Nigeria, down in Nigeria, we have polygamous family. Some of us grew up in polygamous family where you have a father and you have wives, multiple wives, could be two, could be three. That makes it a polygamous family. So you have the parents, you have the children all living together. That is polygamous. And then you have the blended family. The blended family is where you have step parents, you have step siblings, you have a restructured home, maybe a divorced parents remarrying, and all that. That's a blended family. So if you have a man that was married and then either lost the wife or the marriage didn't go well, the marriage ended, is coming over to marry another woman, and that they have children, it will not be a blended family. So you could have a blended family, and you could have extended family. When you have relatives like cousins, aunts living, it becomes an extended family. And then you have grandparents, you have aunts, you have uncles. And back here in Nigeria, it's is a regular thing for you to have extended family live with you, come stay with you, and all that. So you could have extended family. These are all things that affect the structure of the family. And then you have the single parents. You can have a single parent or a grandparent led home where you have the family is actually led by an adult, and you may not have a male figure at home, or you may not have a mother at home. You just have an adult that runs the home. It may be grandma, it may be just the mom, handling a child. So these are structures that you have in it. So the structure doesn't just mean who is in the house or who carries out the responsibilities and things in the house. It just means the blend of what you have there. Do you have father, mother in the home? How many mothers are in the home? Who is it that is responsible for what? That's what it carries. So you can drop an emoji there. If you grew up in a blended family, just write in there blended. If you grew up with an extended family, you have other relatives in the house, you can put that. And then you will need to answer the question, who has the greatest influence in your life? That's what forms the structure, because we're all made up of the experiences that we were involved in growing up. They form the pattern in our life and determine how we live our lives eventually. So it's important to know that sometimes the structure that you have in the family will determine the power of dynamics, how it plays in the house. Because if you have a polygamous family, it means the father in the house, which will be the one to probably call the shots because he has several wives. And you have that when children need anything, is the situations you have to wait for your dad to come. We need to hear your dad speak on this. So that could be the authority. In a grandparents led home, the biological parents may not be there. Then it happens that it's the grandparents that now have the authority because they are the one present to run um, the home. Okay, so we look at said core components. The first one is the family structure, and the next one we're looking at is the communication pattern. How the family speaks, how they listen to one another, how they express themselves, emotions, how issues are resolved in the family depends on what the family system is. So, in the form of kind of foundation for a safe family system, it will be better to have people express themselves without being afraid or being questioned. So, the common patterns that you will have in the family system where communication is a thing in the family is you could have an open or expressive system where emotions are welcome. Anybody can, you can talk, you have feedback, your feedback is encouraged, you can express yourself, and you're not afraid of being shut down. You can have a pattern of avoidance and dismissiveness, where issues are swept under the carpet. We're talking about communication here. Issues are swept under the carpet. You can't talk about it. Silence is usually used as control. And when someone wants to talk, it just feels like you better don't talk. Nobody is listening, you know. So you can have open communication, open and expressive. You can have avoidance and dismissive communication. Another one you could have could be explosive or reactive. In this case, conflict is common, but it's not always productive. You just have not being able to go through with communication, is afraid to talk. We're already talking about not being able to communicate what you want to say because of explosion. You have reactions that are not that will not help in the communication process. So it becomes difficult to communicate issues. So conflicts are usually the issue. At every point in time, somebody is hot, like the fuse is ready to go off for someone. And another one we can have, we're looking at the common patterns of communication that we have in the family structure: the openness and expressive, avoidance and dismissive, and you have the explosive and reactive. And the fourth one is the authoritarian. The authoritarian is one voice dominates the entire conversation that you have in the house, and the children are just expected to just obey, and without dialogue, whatever you're asked to do, you just go on to do it without asking questions. That's the authoritarian. You just obey, just obey, you don't talk. So we don't just inherit communications. It just doesn't come natural. It's a pattern. Because if you have a child in the house and the child knows that if I have a need and I express that I have a need, it can be addressed. The child gains confidence and he knows that whatever the issue is, I can speak up and my voice will be heard. But if the child is growing up in the house and the child knows that even if I speak, nobody is going to listen, or has heard someone else speak and nothing was done about it, it will be, emotions will be repressive. The child will not be able to speak and will not want to talk. So you don't just inherit um, good communication when it's not something that is active or demonstrated, seen in the family growing up. So unless you choose to unlearn any of this thing, maybe you grow up and you just find out that I need to be different, I need to be able to express myself better, then you can begin to work on it. Otherwise, that is a pattern that you go with. So it's not um something you just acquire. It has to be intentional for you to be able to do that. I'll ask you a question here. Were you emotional? Do you talk growing up in your home? What sort of communication pattern was there in your home? And can you trace that to how you are living your life as an adult now? Was it expressive? Was it open? You were able to talk with one another? Or is a situation where you don't want to be heard, you're just seen? What? Because it goes on to affect the way you relate with others, the way you um communicate, the life pattern that you finally develop. And was it easy for you to express your, can you be angry and be able to say, I really don't like this, I'm angry about this, or you need time to cool off about something? Is is not a normal thing. It's not a normal occurrence in the home for those who are about 40 and above growing up, for your um emotions to be recognized. And it's not because our parents don't want us to speak. Excuse me. They didn't know any better, because all they just know is they're taking care of you and they need you to obey them, whatever they're saying. So emotions were not recognized. So you have to keep them. If you have them, you keep them, because you see that the people before you were not able to express their emotion. Even if they did, nothing was done about it. And sometimes those who expressed emotions usually get into trouble, because for speaking up, for talking when you're not supposed to talk, for asking questions, unlike what we have now, the children you have now will ask you questions. Like my granddaughter, if you tell her to do something, and she will ask you, why am I doing this now? I don't want to do this now. I want to do this at this time. So she carries that conversation with you. In our own time and age, you don't even have the nerve to, because you see it that nobody is doing that around you. So it wasn't a common thing. And if you have a child, that is sulking and crying, you usually tell, will you go to the out of this place, you go and sit in the room and cry it out. So nobody is coming to tell you, oh, sorry, why are you crying? Okay, to try to see and pacify you. That luxury wasn't there while we were growing up. That wasn't there. So that it means emotions were not properly expressed. Emotions were not properly expressed. So many times, parenting, it comes with that. I've had one of my sons that told me that it's not easy to express emotions to me, particularly to me. He said, because you really don't ask how you feel about it. And I really get that now. But then it wasn't something I was saying, like asking for their opinion about something. For instance, for as easy as what example can I give now? What are we having for Sunday lunch? Growing up in the home, our children will have Sunday specials. Sunday lunch is usually very special. And if I was to do that now, it would be a thing of asking, what do you want us to have for lunch? We'll have meal timetable, of course, but then if you want something special, something different from what we have, what would you want us to have? We can talk about that and discuss. In that case, the children are learning to express themselves. Everybody begin to express themselves in the house, and they learn to do that. But when it's not when there's no forum for that, there is no comfort and space for that to be done, the children won't be able to express themselves, and they grow up not knowing how to express themselves. So they just feel like, I don't have to be heard, I can be seen. Except I'm asked, I can't express myself, and that is not very good. So if that is the situation where you are, there is room for you to make a turn, make a change about it, and to be able to express yourself better. And many of us as parents, because we grew up in that way, not being able to express our emotions, we just felt that is the right thing to do. Like I said, it's not that our parents didn't want us to speak, but they didn't know any better, and that was all they knew, is what they felt, because we know that children don't come with manual. They don't come with manual, so we learn, and that's why it's important for us to gain knowledge. And as you gain knowledge, you know how to do better. We're in that season where, this phase of life we're in, you can get everything that you want is online. There are a lot you can learn: how to communicate, how to break through to your child who is not talking, how to, there are a lot of resources that you can get now. So we get better in what we do. um okay, let me see. All right, so we move on. Am I still being heard? Okay. All right, we'll take the questions later. I can see questions. We'll take the questions later as we go on. Let's just go on. All right, so we move to, okay, like I was saying, that many parents, many people repeat the cycle of them not being able to express themselves, and then they want to do that also with their children. And that takes us to the third one, which is emotional dynamics. And the question is, in growing up, who holds the emotional space? Is love conditional in the home? Is it unconditional? Are there unspoken rules? When you talk about unspoken rules are things that are not expressly stated in some way, but you just know it's a rule. And one of those rules is when dad is home and he's sitting in the sitting room, if you're going to be there, you better be quiet because he's listening to news. It's unspoken rule. You don't talk. You just sit down and be seen. If there's anything that will make you talk, you run out from there and talk. It's unspoken rules. So the question is, who holds the emotional space? Who is the person that has the thermostat that turns it, that makes sure everything is okay? Is love conditional or unconditional? If you talk about unconditional love, is whatever it is that is happening to you, you're free to talk about. You're going to be told whether it's right or wrong, but you're still welcome and still accepted. Unconditional love, you're not loved because of that. But conditional love is if you behave well, you're a good boy or a good girl. But if you didn't behave well, no, you don't receive that. And that's how most of us grew up. If you're doing well academically in school, you're doing well, yes, you have the love. You can ask for anything. You need this, you can have it. But if you're not doing well in school, you won't even come to ask. You'll be avoiding that. So the love then is conditional, when you can only receive love because you're behaving in a certain accepted way. So um that's what it is. So what are the unspoken rules that we have? We can share that. What are the unspoken rules? So the emotional undercurrent in the family, who is allowed to feel, who isn't, and how emotions are handled or ignored. That's the emotional dynamics in the house. Who is allowed to feel? Who can talk? Are you allowed to express yourself? Who isn't? Those are the key things in the home. So we can look at who manages conflicts. When you talk about emotions that are boiling things, who manages conflicts? Who tries to avoid it in growing up? Who manages it? Who tries to avoid it? Is there love that is given freely in the home? These are questions that you look at. Are the emotions labeled as weak or welcome? Emotions usually are labeled as weak in some homes, where you say you're a man, don't cry. Men don't cry, don't show emotions. You're a man, don't cry. And sometimes that affects the child because the child grows up to feel like I'm supposed to bottle up. I'm not supposed to show any sign of weakness, because when I cry, it shows sign of weakness. And these are things that um, break children down. They grow up with this pattern, and they are not able to express their emotions. They bottle up and bottle up and bottle up till they form a pattern of that, which is not, it's not healthy for them. They end up being traumatized, and they now begin to find an outlet for it. Sometimes you have such children that are so not giving room. When they don't have the emotional space for them to express themselves, they begin to look for love in different places. They look for where to express. They're just looking for someone to tell them they're doing well. They're looking for someone for acceptance, looking for love in the wrong places, and they end up getting into trouble. All right, so the common dynamics that you have in the love emotional dynamic is caregiver and reactor, where one holds it all together and the other disrupts it. You just have the someone who will tell you, no, just hold it up, don't cry, don't give in to that. And you have situations where children are even told, if they hit you, hit her back. Did she talk to you? You should talk out. Those are not healthy things to teach our children to do. So you end up messing up their emotions. A child is expected to be respectful, especially to adults. Respect everyone. Every human we respect, not just adults. But a child should particularly pay attention and be respectful to adults. So if you're a parent and you're raising your child, and you're raising your child to talk back to an adult, it's not a good thing. They should speak respectfully. And you have emotional parentification, something I call emotional parentification, where you have a child that is expected to emotionally care for the needs of parents. Sometimes this mostly happens when you have home where parents are separated, and they most times happens with the mom. The mom takes the child, and as a single parent, you now begin to feed the child with the issues, your issues, things you're going through. And at a very tender age, the child takes up the responsibility of having to care for the mom without taking care of herself. And so that is a twist to it, because you mess up the child's emotion. There was a movie, and I have a review of it. We'll have a review of it on the Overflow channel. The Last Straw is a movie by Bimbo, and in that, the mother separated from the dad and had to raise her herself. She became everything for the mom. She worked hard to protect the mom and support the mom. And by the time she was getting married, it was difficult for the mom to stay off her. The mom couldn't imagine being away from her. And she had to even have a room in their house as she married. A lot of, you can watch the review, have the review there. That's when you talk about trauma. The She became the emotional parent. That emotional parentification was what was happening, because she was standing in as a parent for the mom, helping the mom go through what she was going through, and not leaving her to live the life of a child. And that messes up the emotions of children very badly. It does. So we don't turn children to adults, because you need someone to talk to. And maybe I should just talk about it, since we're talking about the family system. If you are going through divorce, is a difficult thing to go through. Don't play down on that. And sometimes it will help if you seek help and get into therapy and walk through the emotions of getting divorced. Divorce is tough as it is, because it's just like you have a glue that is holding something together, and forcefully you pull it apart. That's what divorce is. So it means you have to have a way to walk through the emotions of divorce and get through it. But whatever you're doing, don't put the burden on your children or your child, because they don't have what it takes. You mess up their own emotions when you do that. All right, so we're talking about the emotions dynamics that happen in the within the family structure. Unspoken rules. We don't talk about feelings here. Anger is dangerous. Those are the kind of things that you talk about. To say, we don't talk about emotions here. You say anger is dangerous. You don't display anger without helping the child to get through with that. That is a problem in it. So I would like to ask you, who are the people that are emotional managers that you have in your home? Can you cast your mind back and just look at it? Is it your mom? Is it your dad? Or maybe it's even you as a child, because you could have a child in the home that all the child just struggles to do. A child was talking to me, and the child said he just found out that he was like the one that tries to moderate the mom and dad at home growing up. And so by the time he grew up and was married, he was a mess emotionally, because he just finds out that it was difficult for him to express himself, because being a child, he helped to moderate the emotions in the home by helping mom not to blow up, covers up for mom, covers up for dad, and his own emotions were not taken care of. It's a very bad state to be in. And you wreck a child's emotions when you do that. And you need to understand that there is healing for the emotions. When you have like this child I'm talking about, his emotions were messed up, really messed up as they were. He had to go through healing. He's still doing that now. And being able to express himself, be open, and be able to talk about things freely without feeling judged, and not feeling like something is really wrong with him for him to be talking about his emotion. So understanding emotional dynamics goes a long way to help you relate and survive in connection with others. Like I usually say, we are a relational being. God created us for us to be able to relate with one another. And so for you to be able to relate with one another, you have to be able to regulate your emotions. Regulate your emotions. So you begin to um you begin to be able to deal with people with a lot of emotional intelligence, and knowing how to relate with people with maturity. You treat people with respect, and you know how to be able to resolve conflict. All that will go on to ensure that your relationship is better and effective. So you can begin to create a family. If you've not started, create a family where emotions are respected. Is important. Emotions are respected and not suppressed. So if you find someone is angry, for instance, if something happens and someone is blowing hot, the person may need time to cool off, and then you cannot talk about it. If the person is so angry, he doesn't want to talk about it and say, no, I don't want to talk about this now, it's okay. Every emotion is valid. But after expressing the emotions, what next? And you just ensure that your decisions are not based on those emotions that you've taken, so that you don't go on making a permanent decision for something that is temporal. So walking through emotions and brewing through the emotions will help. And there's room for emotional healing. You can talk about it. When you have someone that you can talk with about your emotion, it goes a long way. You know, sometimes when you're very angry about something, something just happened and you're angry, you find out that your ability to be able to, or having somebody that you can express that to and let the person know that this thing that happened, and this and that's really not nice in it. But how do you do that? Okay, don't worry. Maybe you do this. You can talk about that. You feel the ease because you've spoken, you've talked about it. The When there is light shone on emotions, that you identify the emotion, you know what it is. It makes it a lot easier for you to deal with or talk about. It feels lighter. It feels lighter for you, so you have to be able to talk about it. It's good to talk about emotion. It frees your heart. It makes you to be able to relate well, and you're able to be objective in your decision making and whatever you need to do about it. But when you don't talk about it and you bottle it, you're just avoidance. That's what you're doing, living in denial. Like I say, it becomes a problem for you. All right. So the last thing we're looking at, we've looked at the family structure, we've looked at the emotions, we look at communication. The last one is roles and responsibilities. Are there heroes in the family structure, in the family system that you're in? Are there heroes? Are there scapegoats? Are there peacemakers? Who is the default caregiver in the family? Some of those responsibilities, we'll call them responsibilities, or some of those roles just come by default. You know, growing up in the home, you just find out that you have a sibling who defaults to just ensuring everything is tidy, just like a tidy environment, and she does that. You may just have one sibling that likes to cook. The person just takes up that responsibility, ensure there is food for everyone, just do that. And you may just have one person who just feels like he's a peacemaker. When trouble is brewing, he's the one that can, no, 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 we don't have to take this way. let's let's consider this, let's take this, let's discuss it this way. So the positions and the jobs of the family members may not be official. However, they hold in a way that it just feels like an assignment or something, and everyone adapts to it. So you have rules, and you have people that just play such roles in the family, and you identify them to know. Some of them are good, some are not. Like the ones that play heroes, you have someone who will play hero in the family, and they just end up being hero all life. I have a client. She's the first child, and so a daughter, and they are called Ada. You know, the Ada of the home, the first daughter. She just takes up the whole responsibility of caring for everybody at a very tender age. So she really did enjoy her time when kids are playing. She didn't have that luxury of going to play with other kids because she had to take care of her younger ones while the mom goes to do whatever she's doing. So she sits with the children, taking care of the younger ones, the very little ones, and then the immediate younger one and the other one next to that, they go to play. But she sits down to take care of the baby. And that injured her emotions so much. She just felt rejected, like she wasn't accepted. And every out of behavior by anyone is her fault. You were in the house and this happened. You were the, so she now became like the scapegoat that takes up the blame for everything that went wrong. So at a very young age, she had to be responsible. She had to be able to ensure that everybody's doing what life. So she didn't have a life her own. So she was wounded, and she grew up with that. By the time she was an adult, she's now an adult, married, of course, grandmother now. She found out that even the man that she married, she was now a mother to the man, telling him what to do to ensure what to do. And it got to a place where the man was no longer coming forth and doing what he should do as a man. And she felt like, why would you not be doing anything? Why would you just sit back and just be looking at, not doing anything? But the thing is, because of the Ada rule, she had been the first child, she had taken up the responsibility, had always managed other people's lives, and she was doing that to her husband also. So that is the hero in it. And then you have the scapegoat, you can have a peacemaker in it. Some of the common roles that you have: the hero is the overachiever who tries to help keep the family looking good. That's what the Ada could do. It could be Ada, it could be a son. That's what they do. The scapegoat is the one that is blamed for everything that goes wrong in the family. And then you have the peacemaker. The peacemaker is the mediator. He's always trying to keep everyone calm. Why the lost child is the one that stays quiet, is withdrawn, is unnoticed. Sometimes that's the middle child that you have in the family. When you have the first child, they rejoice, will have a first child. You now have a second child, is okay. And then you have the last child. So attention shifts from the first child to the second. Before the second child will enjoy that, it moves to the last child, and that may be the last. That's why the middle child is always, they always feel neglected, because attention shifts from them so quickly. So you now have the first one being responsible for the last child getting attention of every other person, but the middle child does not get any. And that could be referred to as the lost child in the family. It's usually one who stays quiet, is withdrawn, unnoticed, not because he doesn't want to, but he just found out that the gaze doesn't come to him. He's always, they look past him to the other end. And so you have the caregiver also. The caregiver is often the child that is taking up the adult responsibility. This is very heavy on a child. Do any of you see yourself in any of those roles? Does it sound familiar? You can drop one if you relate to that. We can keep the conversation going in the chat room. I can't see the chats from here now because of what I'm streaming to, but we can keep the conversation on even when the live session has ended. Okay. Everyone, we see that everyone in the family has a role to play. They have a part they need to show up as. But how best they show up in those roles determines the kind of family structure that is in place, and what they've been taught, and what they know how to do, what is accepted as it is. Because family systems can be different. The way it is done in one family could be different from the other. But the underlining thing about it is everyone should be heard, everyone should feel loved, everyone should feel heard. You should be able to speak and feel heard. Everyone should be able to express themselves without being judged. And the love that is in the family should be unconditional. It should be unconditional. Un- And you have a situation where everyone seems to be an expert. I know when I had I think when I had my first child, there was a lady that was telling me, she was telling me that you need to do these things to do for a newborn, what to do. And when she left, I was just thinking about it, and someone else came and told me something contrary to that. And then I was just thinking to myself that if every advice, unsolicited advice that you get is what you're going to take and work with, you might end up killing your child, because you just have counter advice. Someone is coming telling you you can do this, and someone else is coming telling you to do that. So it's important for you to gain knowledge for yourself, and that's why having counseling and getting a coach as a marriage counselor to help you go through the process is a very good thing. One will do. You should have that. It will guide you, because if you have a mentor, or you have a counselor, a guide, someone that is guiding you, there's certain mistakes you wouldn't make, because the person who is guiding you has seen that ahead for you and will be able to guide you what you should do and things you shouldn't do. That goes on to help you. I need to plug this. Sorry, the battery is running low. Okay, all right, and this is on. So if I was talking about unsolicited advice, so people might give you advice based on their experience. Why it is called unsolicited is because you're not looking for it. But if you have a mentor and you have a counselor, it means you go looking for it. You know exactly what you're looking for. But unsolicited means they just see you and they want to give. Some people are very good at that, at giving unsolicited advice. So you need to know what you want and be able to go for that, so that the unsolicited advice wouldn't be the only information you have that you're working with. So if you have been able to get out and look out for what you want, then you can get the real what to use, what advice you should use. So parenting styles could be different, whatever that would mean to you. But the underlying thing is, create a family structure, a family system where the children, every single, not just the children, every member of the family is able to express themselves without feeling judged, and their emotions are considered valid. Their emotions are considered valid. And so you could have a mission. As a family, you should have a vision and a mission. A vision, what is it that you want to do and how you plan to achieve that, and it should be known to every member of the family and considered as that. It's very important, because there was a young girl that was talking, also another, the first child, and the parents were pastors. The father was a pastor. I don't think the mother was a pastor, but the father was a pastor. And she felt neglected in the home, because being a pastor, they had lots of visitors that come to the home every time. And so whenever they come, they have to uh, vacate their room for these visitors to be on their bed, and they sleep on either floor or the couch or whatever they. So growing through in the house, that was what she suffered. So by the time she had gone to university, she was very happy to leave for university, because she just felt like, oh, air of relief, and finally she was out of the house. And quickly she married off. She didn't want to come back to the house because she didn't feel accepted. Is it accepted? You see, she didn't feel the space to express herself, because all she could see there is the needs of others were placed before hers, because the father was in ministry and it was considered that. But that is not okay, because that bruised her. And that, of course, is what led her to therapy. She had to come for therapy, because she just found out that she wasn't able to take care of herself. She grew up thinking that the needs of others are more important than her own needs. And so she was always out to please others and seeking acceptance. All she just wants to do is to be able to please others and make them happy. When they are happy, she feels she's happy. But right inside, she's not happy, because she felt um not used. It's not that she felt used, but she just felt that her needs were not met. They were not classified as important to be addressed. But the parents didn't know any better. They worked with what they knew. That's why parenting starts with us, the parents. You have to learn to parent well and to be able to raise children well. Parenting is a difficult thing to do, but it most is the most graceful um uh, thing to do, because you have a chance to do it right and you can learn while doing it. So parenting styles can differ. It can be whatever you want to do, but the underlying thing, like I said, is ensure that emotions are considered, and you're taking care of your child's emotions, their needs. You're taking care of boundaries clearly defined. You should have boundaries clearly defined in the, so no one feels like they are left out, like this child. So you should know your child, you know what they do, be able to allow everyone to express themselves in a kind of open way, so that no one is left behind. A child that grows up in a family where they can express themselves definitely will be able to express themselves when they go out and be able to stand up, have boundaries, define their boundaries. Um, when you have a child, there was a thought that came to my mind now. If you raise a child who is not allowed to express their emotions, what the child does in the world is the child just feels, I'm just here to please everyone. That will be the child's focus. The child is there, try to please everyone, because the emotions that the child has received is the fact that every other person's need is more important than mine. So I should keep my and just keep pleasing others. Okay. I have a question here. Have you ever felt judged for a parenting choice? Like what you decide to do, unsolicited advice, you will get it. You see somebody that will tell you, no, you should spank that. No, don't tolerate that. In my house, if you don't take that, if it's in my house, you just unsolicited. There are plenty. But what I want to say is that you need to transit into parenting with confidence. And how do you parent with confidence? Is with knowledge. So you need to acquire knowledge, learn about it. What is it that you have to do to help your family system be such that everyone feels valued, everyone feels loved, and they are free to express themselves? Create safe space for everyone to express themselves. And so for you to be able to do that, there are some tools and things you need to put into place to let them do that. So let's get practical. How do you move from the place where you don't know what to do to the place where you know what to do? Is just for you to have your value, know your values. What are the things you considered as values that you have to hold on to? And so you say you create boundaries around such values. You're consistent in those values that you have put. It's not today is okay, tomorrow is not. So if you have value that we don't lie, you will have to tell the truth at all time. So you create a safe space for the children to tell the truth, everybody to tell the truth. Not when the truth is said and the person is punished for saying the truth, it means the next time the person will not want to tell the truth. So if you have your values, you define your values, you should enforce it and ensure it is known that that is what it is. So you teach the children to respect. They should see you respect others, and they equally will learn to respect others. So respect both ways. The kids should know, you should have the children know that what the expectations are from this family. Our expectation is this: we show love to one another, we support one another no matter what the person is going through. Love is unconditional. You just have those things written out, spelled out, so that the children understand that that is what it is. And so with that, they will be comfortable in the house and not walk out looking for people to validate them in what they do. So you need to transit from there and ensure you create that in the family system that will help the children grow. You equally have to help them detach from external validation. External validation would come when, if you're putting the needs of others before the child will learn to live, just like I had said, that every other person is important, they are not important. But and in that case, they will now be looking for external validation, because if all they're doing is to please others, they want to see other people comfortable, they want to see other people doing well. It means um they will be waiting to see that those people are doing well to say, okay, thank you, you've done that, and they're happy. External validation. I have a video on the YouTube channel that talks about how external validation becomes a problem. You have people who go on, they don't even have money. Example of it is going to borrow money to help someone else who is in trouble. The problem is not yours, but you just own other people's problem. You take them. It's external validation. You're just looking for something that will massage your ego, and is It's not a good thing. It's an emotional situation that needs help. It's trauma driven. For you to have that God complex, you want to save everybody, you want to solve every problem that comes your way. It's God complex. You can't do that and be able to take care of yourself. If you're doing that, is not okay at all. Is not. So we need to help our child detach from external validation. So you don't need approval from other people for you to be complete. You're complete in yourself, and let the child know so. So you say words like you're good, you're doing great. Oh, that's so nice that you did that. Ah, beautiful. If I to a child, the child knows that, well, you affirm them and let them know, having them do things. You say, I know you can do this, go and get it done, and they do. See, you did it. I knew you'd be able to do it. So you're building confidence in the child, and when the child has confidence, they won't be looking for external validation. So you create safe space for the children, create safe space for them to be criticized. When criticized or reacting to criticism, not for them to be criticized, reacting to criticism. If something goes wrong, you explain to them, this thing is not, this thing you did now is not right for this reason. You should have done it this way. When you end up explaining that to the child will be able to accept criticism and know that when something is not right and it's being looked at, like feedback, they get feedback, they should know that it's for them to improve in what they're doing. Don't pull down the confidence you already built in the child because you want to make them know what they've done is wrong. So that would also go a long way to help. The family members that you have in the family should have a common support for one another. Try to affirm one another in the family. It goes a long way. And the children and every family member should know that all I need is to get back home. So home shouldn't be the place they want to run away from. It should be a place they want to run to because they know that they have a safeness at home. It should be the place they will want to run to. And time is far gone. 1 hour already. All right, so I'll quickly wrap up. In wrapping up, when you understand the family system that you have, you will stop repeating harmful patterns unconsciously. So you understand growing up what is like, what are the things that are working there, and what are the things that are not working. So you can break the pattern and not continue with it. If you're growing up, you gain compassion from your parents. Why with your parents growing up, you'll be able to express that. But if you're growing up, there was no compassion, and you begin to met that also to your children. But if you understand, that's why we're talking about the family system, for you to understand how you were raised and what are those things that were happening then that were not good, and you could consider them not favorable for you. You begin to cut them off and begin to unlearn so that you can relearn. Like I said, knowledge is all over now. You have knowledge, but then you have to look for the knowledge that is for you, bespoke for you, that you need for you to be able to do what you have to do. So understanding the pattern will help you to make it better and know how to do, so you don't continue with harmful patterns unconsciously. One thing I would say is awareness is the first step for healing. So if you're aware of what the situation is, you're healing from the system, whatever system that you're raised in. It will go a long way for you in breaking the pattern. So first is for you to know that you need to adjust, and whatever is working you keep, and what you think is not working you can leave that out. And I want to say that you're not alone. Parenting is hard. As parenting is hard, but then it's also a powerful way to influence the life of our children, because our children look up to us. Whatever it is we're doing, they see what we're doing, that's what they want to do. So it's a way for us to do that. So have a family system that will influence and give and receive love appropriately. Let them know that they can receive love, they can give love and be able to express themselves. So you have permission to set your own rules. The rules that will work in your family may not be the rules that work in another family because of the setup of a family. Remember when we're talking about family structures, you have extended family, you have polygamous family, you have the monogamous family. Whatever the family that you have, it's for you to make rules that will suit the family you have. You don't have to copy and paste family rules from anywhere. Draw up your own rules, have the rules that you work, and that will be good for you. Okay, and that's all we can take. The time is far gone. I had some more things I'll share. Maybe those will come in our short videos that we'll upload on the YouTube channel talking about this. But the conversation goes on the comment section. We'll look through that and be able to carry on the discussion offline. I encourage you to join our YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, you can do that. On the channel, we'll talk about lots of things like what we've just discussed, the family system, things that can help you live an overflowing life, how to be resilient in what you're doing, how to set goal, how to get clarity on the part of life, what you want to do. So I encourage you, if you're a parent, you should have a motto in your house. And it should be something like a slogan, a tagline, what's called a tagline. Your home, you should have your home, you should have your rules, you should have your wisdom, whatever it is that you need to. Just make sure it runs on a system that can be trusted and the children feel welcome in the home. It shouldn't be a situation where they are happy, they want to run away from home. Like the lady I talked about the other, she married off because she didn't want to be in the home. Home wasn't home to her. Let's make home home. Home is a place where love dwells. It's a place where everyone is heard. It's a place where we listen and we don't judge. Until I come into your space again. This is Dr. Oke of the Overflow Life signing off. If you've enjoyed this, it's just a reminder that the first Saturday of every month we usually have live um, like this, and we'll talk about different things. Today we talked about the family system. I hope you learned one or two things from here, and keep the conversation on in the comment section until I come into your space another time. Bye bye from me. Thank you.